So my name is Lynn Mann and my business is called Earth a Quanta and my podcast is Every Business Counts. The podcast is very quickly behind the podcast, there's a meaning. Every business counts means every business matters. Every business has to account. Every business makes a difference in the world, so their actions count. So really it's about bringing money and numbers into your business and understanding them to really make that impact you want to make in the world. I'd been aware of podcasts for a while. I knew Woon did podcasts and had his agency. I knew somebody else who had done podcasts, and actually a friend of mine, I'd helped her with her podcast a number of years ago. And it was one of those things that I actually just felt I had to do, partly to help people to create more awareness about how money and numbers can help people in their business, particularly for impact-driven and purpose-led business owners. Money and numbers are something they hide away from, they don't feel they need to know. So I think for me, this was a way I could see that I could put content out there to help us. And from my perspective, it was also so I could interview people to learn more about the area, the topic, and to expand it further than I would be able to do on my own. Actually, the getting it done. So I decided around Christmas time that I was going to do it. I had been working with another coach for visibility who did podcasting. But I never had, I think what working with Woon brought was the accountability, and having that group and having to work through the program and being in the group really made a difference. It kind of gave me the motivation to actually get it done. So as I said, it gave me the determination to actually go and do to set the podcast up. And just kind of gave me some different things to think about and different ways of doing things. So for example, within the program, Woon gives various, as well as kind of the practical things, there was various tips and ideas on how to do podcasting. So the other week I did one where it was actually like a compilation where I'd recorded, or I had people record answers to certain questions and then pull them together. And that was something I'd never come across before. But it worked well for what I was wanting to do at that point in time. Those were the kind of things that I think, as well as kind of the practicality of things and the accountability, it was kind of these little tips and things that Woon has seen because he's been working with so many other people, and he's also makes sure that he's up to date, I guess, on everything that goes on in podcasting. So there is an element that's it's work in progress, but it is that it's out there, it's being seen. It allows me to reach out and connect with people and in a way grow my network that way. And it gives me content that I can actually then look to repurpose in different ways. And it gives me ideas. I love being sparked by something else. So the ability to actually have something that gives me ideas, which I can then bring into my business, is great. So the first week after I launched, one of the things I did was to get people to, there was a networking podcasting group I was in, and I asked people to go and listen to it, to like it and things like that, and reached out to other people. And actually, in the end, ended up being in I think it was number 17 in the business management section, which really felt great to actually achieve that. And it's one of those things, it gives me that, because I know that in that first time period, you get an advantage in the algorithm. But now it's that thing that actually, it's kind of that incentive to see, okay, so how can I get back into the charts? So the first would be to be really clear on what you want your podcast to be about. And I think having that clarity up front is important. And the second would be to be clear on, or to understand if you want to do your editing. So I've been doing my editing, which actually I enjoy because it allows me to go back and actually listen to the interviews again. Whether I'll do that in the long term, I don't know, but it's being understanding what you want to do, what you potentially want to outsource, understanding the amount of time that you want to commit to it, and actually being clear. So I said being clear on what your podcast's about, but also knowing what you want from it yourself. Because if you're not getting something back from it, then you're going to just give it up. It's having that motivation, understanding what the purpose is for you, as well as what the purpose of the overall podcast is. I think Woon really knows what he's talking about, and he is very generous with what he shares with people, and is there to really, he wants you to succeed in what you're doing. And I think that knowing that somebody's there for you when you're setting this up is hugely important, because it is that huge step in putting yourself out there. And it's like, well, what if nobody listens to it? What if I don't like it? Oh, they don't like it. What happens? And so knowing that you've got somebody there that has your back is really, really important. And I know that Woon does. He values his clients, and I think that then creates that. And as a result, you can trust him. And that's hugely important when you're trying to put something